Are we? We are live. What is up, real estate business builders? In today's video, I'm going to go into a topic that I don't see covered a lot on YouTube or with folks that are teaching agents how to get busy. And it's this concept of how do we do such a good job for our clients that our clients bring us multiple clients. So how do you turn every deal into multiple deals just by virtue of the way you serve your clients? And another way to put this is, and ultimately when you do this at a very high level, it allows you to turn social proof, so a client getting a good experience with you, into a lead generation lever. So the title of this training today is Social Proof as a Lead Gen Lever. How do you turn every client, every closing into multiple closings? Would not that be awesome? Is that the right English? Would that not be awesome? Would not that be awesome? Either way, we're going to break it down today. And so this is inspired by back in the day, and this was, I have to believe it was around 2016 or 17, where I had a new appointment. I had relocated to a different part of my city, and I had a new dentist. And so I had our first appointment with this dentist, and actually knew these guys because they were on, we tried radio, which is mass media, which year over year, it ended up being worse and worse from an ROI standpoint, but we were on the same station as this dentist office, and they were business partners. And so I went into the office and had an awesome experience. It was just one of those businesses where you knew that things were run differently. I had a tour of the office. I was offered water when I came in. It was like AAA office space. And when I was checking out I went in just for a checkup and a cleaning, and I checked out, and the woman that was checking me out asked, did you have a great experience? Or I forget how she worded it, but essentially she asked me how the visit was. And I said, it was awesome. And she said, have you left us a 5-star review yet? And I said, no, I haven't. And she knew that I didn't. It was my first day. She knew that, but I could tell that she was following a process, and there was a system in place to secure this social proof, this 5-star review. And I didn't call it social proof back then because we didn't have it integrated into our business. But anyway, she pulls out her phone. She gestures to me to pull out my phone. And all of a sudden I'm leaving a 5-star review for this business. And the net takeaway was that was awesome. I told her. And I asked her, why is she doing that? Like, why do you think the owners have asked her to do that, when people check out? And she said, the owners let us know that what they've been doing in the past, they've been spending money on, and they even were doing TV and radio, and they were direct mailing around their physical location. And they said all those things have, like, the return on all those things has gone down dramatically. And what they were finding is that people, before they even built the system, people were going online and leaving them glowing reviews because they were running an awesome business. And those reviews were garnering more business. And so the whole social proof aspect of their business had exploded to the point where they were layering out of those expensive, lower ROI things that they were doing, the mass media, the TV, the radio, the direct mail to, strangers and whatnot. And man, I took that experience as like, I'm going to go deep on this. I instantly knew that this was going to become a big part of our business, because everyone in real estate is looking for, like, where can I spend the next dollar? What can I do in my business to generate another lead? And oftentimes we're not looking at the person right in front of me, the person that I'm giving up evenings and weekends for, and the person that I would do anything for, a listing client or a buyer client. What if we did such a good job with that person and we had systems put in place? And what if we could design a process that the only logical byproduct of working with us through this designed world-class process, this world-class service that they would get from us, the only natural conclusion that a client of ours could make is to refer business to us without having us beg for it. Some agents will call their database and, 4 times a year and do the whole, Ford family, occupation, recreation dreams. And then at the end say, oh, by the way, Lars, who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell? And it's so contrived, and it's so, it's just not the way that, most people operate. When a real estate agent calls you and they try to BS about your family or your dreams or whatever, chances are they're just going to ask you for something at the end. So rather than take that approach, I took this experience at this local dentist office, and I went back to the office and I said, we have got to stop the presses. At that point, I think we had 50 or 60 Google reviews, and instantly implemented a process with quarterly contests. We've tested everything, but the journey, and I want to share my screen here because the journey is what is the coolest part of this. So I'll be sharing this later. This is our, I'm going to I'm going to get pretty deep today on the tactics you can use, and specifically, and by the way, if you don't, in the description here, there's a link to grab this this workbook here. So this is like a 10-page or 9-page, 10-page document, has all the scripts, exactly what you'd say to people, exactly how you'd solicit, the approach, post-transaction email templates, all of this. So go to the description and click on it and grab your copy. So let's do this. Let's type in best dentist in 28277. This is literally, most people are doing this. So the realization was, and if I go here and I go to places, you'll see there's a couple sponsored here. Ballantine Dentistry happens to be the business, but if you look at, and others are catching on, so 951, 354, but Ballantine Dentistry has 1,500 reviews, right? So it's pretty likely, if you're looking for a dentist and you're obviously in this area, 28277, which is South Charlotte, you're going to take a look at these guys. You're going to go to their website. You're going to do the due diligence, right? And there's a video on the site, and you could just tell this is just a different opportunity. You can schedule, man, you can FaceTime with them. Holy cow. Anyway, so you could tell that this is, even from here, you can tell that it's a different type operation. So if I went back and I just changed this to best real estate agent in 28277, you can see sponsored. So Mark Spain grew his business in Atlanta, and he's come over to Charlotte. But look at the first one here. And now I exited this business in November 2020, so I'm not involved in this business anymore. But this started out with no system to get Google reviews. Now this business regularly gets business from the social proof that's out there. And that's the punchline here, is that when anyone is looking to hire a real estate agent, right? They're more often than not, they're going to the Google here, and they're going to do a search. And if your digital footprint isn't what it needs to be, and it doesn't have social proof as a key element, I'm not talking about content and short form and YouTube and all that stuff. I'm talking about just the things that are said about you online. Does that generate, is there enough of it to generate more business for you? And reminder here, make sure you get this guide, because I'm going to go through it here in a second, and you're going to want all the templates in here and how to run with it. But let me click into our $1 Million Agent method. So this is, if you ever come into our world and you need help with structure and systems and accountability, building all this out, and all the swipe documents, for all of our lead generation leverage lead generation, you can see we've got 11 or 12 proven lead gen levers. They're all good for one transaction per month or more. All of our appointment setting process, the lead management, lead nurtures, the consultation frameworks, all swipeable, deployable, all that good stuff. But we are here for the social proof system. So some of this stuff overlaps, and let me explain this. So database touch blueprint, that is your database of people that know, like, and trust you, either their past client or their sphere of influence. Then your brand authority builder, this is generally the stuff you're putting out online, the content. Are people engaging with it? Are you having actual conversations? And are those conversations turning into appointments, turning into clients, turning into closings, right? Social proof we're going to go through, but client care compound effect. And I may do a different deep dive on just client care compound effect, because this is part of it here. So your ability to turn every client into another client is part of this, but I'm going to focus more on the social proof aspect of this right now. You can see me on this training video giving the same example here, but this is how it looks inside our system. So I'm not going to go through the step-by-step checklisted process document to implement all of this. I do want to go through this document here. So every business should make a promise to their clients that they're going to deliver an experience that client couldn't possibly imagine being any better. And the byproduct of that experience is that they're going to want to tell everyone about the business. Here's how to go about it. And by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if for some reason I don't deliver on this promise, I'm going to know because you didn't tell everyone about me and you didn't light up my three-way text with people that might be looking to buy or sell. And if that happens, I'm just going to want to have a conversation with you about that at closing. Is that okay? Great. Okay, cool. So if you guys would be okay with that, go ahead, sign there, sign there. It's a big commitment. We don't take it lightly, and off we go. So that's the first step of this process of generating more business from the service you provide and ultimately getting the social proof, which is the Google review. So this doesn't happen in isolation. In order to build a sustainable system, all of your systems around client care, that's the client care compound effect and the checklist and the emails you send out. And we've got this really cool gifting process, an entirely separate system inside of $1 Million Agent Method. But you've got to have those baseline systems in place so you actually do fulfill this promise of creating a Ritz-Carlton experience or whatever your analogy is, right? If you're not focusing on taking care of your clients at the very, very highest level, it's likely that you're going to lose the game of what it's going to take to thrive in the age of AI and it rapidly advancing technology. As a local service provider, any local business, the widest and deepest moat you can build, it's the way you treat your clients. And the only byproduct of that experience with you is for them to send everyone they know your way. Okay, so it starts with whatever you want to call this. It starts with a big, bold promise about what it looks like to work with you. And as a result, they're going to want to tell people about you. And here's how they do it. Tell them specifically, give them instructions on how to send you a referral and that you'll take excellent care of them. And yeah, and that's the essence of it. And then on the flip side, and I'll go through a little bit of the guide here, but you have these check-ins where you're setting the expectation. We covered that. And you've got scripts around all of that. Then you're checking in at different points in the transaction. If you have a team or even a closing coordinator, they'll help as well. We give gifts at multiple times in the transaction. And then at the closing table, we don't do the multiple platforms as well. So you can get reviews on Zillow, but Zillow has ulterior motives. I mean, they want to take 100% of our commission check if they could. And now granted, some agents can get their economic model to work in terms of lead costs or Zillow Flex. But most people aren't going on Zillow. Most people are going, now if you have Zillow reviews, they'll show up if people do a Google search on you. But you want to place your chips on Google in terms of where you want your social proof to live. So I did a video, YouTube video, how to set up your Google business profile, how to use Google reviews to get 1 to 2 transactions per month as well. You can check that out. It was only a handful of videos ago. So make sure you check that out in terms of getting the Google, your Google business profile and how to feed it content on the regular to have Google index it properly and begin to show up on SEO, and reviews are part of that. So, so that's the big push here, is that you need to make that promise and commit to it. And then let me get back here. There's one more thing I wanted you to go through. Now this script here, I'm going to pull up this version, but this script, actually, let me pull up the version that's in this document. Here's what I want to leave you with. I want to give you a challenge. If you don't have a Google business profile set up, find that video and consume that video and then go about this process. I want you, if you have no reviews, no Google business profile, set up your Google business profile and then reach out to 10 past clients using, well, the goal is to get 100. That's our initial push with our clients. And then ultimately double your nearest competitor in your market. But here is the script. So, hey there, Lars. Hope all is well. It's been a minute since we had that conversation. I know we had a good transaction together. I have a small favor to ask of you. Would you mind writing a review on Google about your experience with me? Everyone is turning to Google to look for real estate agents. It would be awesome if you could help me out, and it would really help me grow my business. And sometimes we'll do a contest. So as an added bonus, if you write a review before, whatever date, I'm going to put your name in a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to blah, blah, blah. And you have to check if this is allowed in your market and all that good stuff. But I want to thank you in advance. I'm going to send you a text right now with a link to be able to, a link for you to do that easily. And let me show you what that looks like. This is next level. So if you go to Real Estate B School, Google reviews, it should have me logged in as myself, and I can go to click on my reviews. And because I'm logged in as myself, I can hit this button, get more reviews. And this is, you either have a QR code, you can copy that, save it, and put it on a mailer even to past clients, or you copy this link. So when you have this I just copied it. When you have this conversation here, you pull up your text and you're sending them like, hey, it was awesome to connect. Here is the link to send me a Google review. And then when you click on that, I'd have to go incognito, I'm pretty sure, but it brings up a screen. Yeah, okay, here you can see. It brings up a screen with that link right there with your so they don't have to like search to go on Google, search for my name, click on reviews, and then click on, whatever. It's going to open up a screen where right away they can leave you a 5-star review, write some kind words, add some photos. If they've got a picture, what would even be really cool is at closing, take a picture of them, at the closing table, if they're selling a listing or if they're a buyer, with your sold sign in front of their house, send them that picture over text and then tell them to include that photo in their review of you. Now, granted, why do most agents not do this? Let me stop my screen share here. Why do most agents not do this? Because it takes work. Most agents can't even figure out, most agents don't have a client to work with. So if you're one of the agents that are working with clients regularly, you could easily grow your business from this one strategy alone. And it takes a little bit of effort, right? It takes some effort to put together a client care experience that is world-class. It takes a little bit of effort to build out a system with touch points. Maybe in your CRM, you have a transaction plan where it reminds you to touch base every week with a very specific conversation, not just the general conversations you're having with a seller or buyer client about their transaction. This is a specific conversation where you're checking in, you're saying, hey, Lars, it's Lars from eXp Realty. I just wanted to check in. I know we're sort of on the daily talking about our transaction, but remember that promise I made to you back when we started working together? I wanted to take just a minute to check in on how I'm doing against that promise. Is there anything I could be doing better or differently around communication or expectations? Awesome. Anything else? Great. Here's the thing. Most agents are afraid of the answer. But if you're going to be in this business for a period of time, and I mentioned that wide and deep moat being the service you provide and the kind words your clients say to you, the only option you have to have a thriving service business is to provide a service that is worth what people are paying you. And to get paid, let's say X% of the value of an asset, and haphazardly provide a service and not be checklisted and not be world-class, you're just going to become meaningless over time. So there's a big responsibility that goes along with taking the commissions that we take, right? And so the commitment I want you to take here, baby steps. If you don't have a Google business review, watch that video where I talked about how to set one up and how to go about it. And then I want you to get your first 10 Google reviews. And if you need to go deeper on the conversation about what it looks like to implement these systems, not just around client care, but around leverage, lead generation, all of our lead gen levers, our conversion processes, our consultation frameworks, just go to $1,000,000agentmethod.com. That's $1,000,000agentmethod.com. And we'll see you over there. Be good.